Ohio gozaimasu. I explained that in the last episode and in episode 6, I think. So, hello. I just wanted you to see all my flowers. We had a little birthday gathering last night when I arrived back in New York. So I have all of these. So today we have Hannah Sylvester, the district herbalist, back to talk about some health things. We're in this transition period, and I was thinking about how just how bumpy this ride has been, and we've done a lot of shows on stress and anxiety and tension and how to relax and how to sleep and things like that, you know, things to help you sleep. And I was thinking about, so 2 shows ago, our line of the week was Say the Power You Have, which is why we do this, reminding you to breathe of a Sunday and every day, because it does cleanse the system and, you know, wakes you up and relaxes you at the same time, and to drink water, which I'm doing a lot of this morning, because I did a lot of drinking of other things last night. So hydrating the body, showing, you know, how water, you put some water in a flagging plant and it just perks it right up. So that it does that for the body too. We don't always see that, but we can feel it. And thinking about, in these bumpy times, anchoring in wisdom, anchoring in healing, empowering yourself to find your way to your own wisdom, you know, processing your experiences. That's one of the reasons that Shakespeare has lasted, these hundreds of years, is because he processes, okay, that's not going to work. He processes the human experience for us and distills it and gives it voice. You know, I think I've told this story before, but I was in a place some years ago. I was really upset, and it's in the middle of the night and I couldn't sleep. And I remembered that I had learned from Fiona Shaw's production of Richard II, because she was a teacher of mine at Bada. And I learned that the deposition scene of Richard II isn't about a king being deposed. It is, but it's also about our own sovereignty, our own power, and how we give it away. And so I thought, I'm going to learn that speech. So I got up at 3 a.m. and I pulled my giant Shakespeare out, and I was trying to learn, and then I got sleepy. But I felt empowered. It gave me an action to do, and I was able to go back to sleep. So that's one of the reasons that we do these every Sunday, is to help you find your way to your own power and find your way to your own healing, and which is why we have Hannah. And has Hannah joined us yet? So, they switched times in Britain yesterday, and I saw a very funny cartoon, which I'll post, of people trying to move the stones in Stonehenge to move them an hour back. No, it's this way. No, it's that way. So I don't see her yet, but hopefully she'll have processed the different time zone as well. But we were going to talk about, for one, bone healing. Can you heal bones with herbs? They say herbs. Herbal healing, herbal healing. And a mixture of British and American is Herbal Healing. So there you go. So I got my hand into there she is, into a splint. Let's bring her on. From the cast that it was in, but it hasn't healed properly. If it doesn't behave itself in the next few weeks, I'm looking at hand surgery, which is not a happy prospect for me, as being right-handed and a writer. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But of course, like I did with the knee and using the plantain leaves and all of that, I'm going to see what herbal help I can get. We're waiting for her to come on. So the other thing is, for my birthday, somebody sent me a necklace that's a pansy. And we know pansies are from the French word penser, to think. And Ophelia says, that's pansies, that's for thoughts. There's pansies, that's for thoughts. And it also means heartsease. It's also called heartsease. So it's good that it's near my heart. Hello, Hannah. How are you? There she is. What time is it for you now?
It is now, it's now 3:15, and I hadn't thought about the time difference change.
Well, that may happen to us next week. I think our time changes next week. I better look into that. But anyway, I was just rattling on before you came, but I just want to quickly tell other people the other thing that happened this week besides the birthday is I am now the surprised owner of Captain Hook's Cabinet of Hooks that I got from the Shakespeare Theater in DC. And it is kind of helpful with the hand. However, it is much, much larger than I anticipated. So we are looking for a happy home. Oh, it is next week. Nick's just said to me, it is next weekend that we change our time. So we'll have to stay cognizant of that as well. Anyway, time's changing, all of kinds of things. It's a big metaphor for everything that's going on. But I asked you ahead of time, so why, you said comfrey is good for bones. Why is comfrey good for bone breaking?
Well, it's one of those ones where the clue's in the name a little bit, because its Latin name symphytum comes from the same root as symphony, so kind of, you know, people playing together, and comfrey comes from the same root as confer, so it's all about kind of bringing things together. And that's kind of what it does, because one of its sort of quite famous folk names over here is knit bone, as in knitting bones together.
Yes, wow. So way back then, they knew. We're just bringing back the wisdom that everybody else has had all this time. Okay, so how does it do it though? How does it knit bone?
It's a clever little plant. It's incredibly powerful, and the reason why it works so well is that it helps to speed up cell proliferation. So when you've got a fracture on something, or even, to be honest, if you've got a laceration on your skin, it will do the same thing. It will help to speed up cell proliferation and help that healing to happen quicker, basically. But the really, really important thing with it is that, and I speak from experience here, is that the bone has to be in place before you put the comfrey on it, or else otherwise it will just go knit, 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 and it will heal it in the wrong place, a little bit like it did with my wrist, when I didn't realise that I'd broken my wrist. And I thought I'd sprained it. This was like 10 years ago, and so I have it healed it beautifully quickly, what I thought was just a sprain, but it's now, a little bit lumpy bumpy on the side, and it shouldn't be. It's
so interesting, because that's the problem with my thumb, is that a piece is kind of broken off this way and it's not going back in. So if I put the comfrey on, it might heal it kicked up instead of back in where it's supposed to be. So I'll have to think about how I'm going to apply that. But I kept thinking, by the pricking of my thumbs, something healing this way comes. It's usually something wicked, but Halloween is next week, so we'll save the wickedness. Actually, we've been steeped in so much wickedness. Last week we had the dyer on, and I talked about steeping and what are you steeped in, and I said, since my nature is subdued to what it works in, like the dyer's hand was the line of the week. And you're steeped in herbal healing, and I'm steeped in Shakespeare, and we're all comfreying together. We're knitting that together to heal all of us, really. I'm going to get emotional today. I was late for my birthday, out late, and I just feel like, let's all help each other and heal each other. Kind of stuff today. But we were going to talk about, we decided to talk about mushrooms, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Tell me.
Which I didn't realize they've got a different name in Shakespeare.
Only in one place, in the Tempest, I think. Somebody's going to correct me on that. And I just love it. And in a lot of texts, you'll see it corrected. But mushrooms is so much more fun than mushrooms, although mushrooms is fun too. But there's been a huge resurgence in the interest of mushrooms lately. And I think I talked about that a few shows ago. I've been to a couple seminars about getting lion's mane. And, because Shakespeare doesn't mention a particular mushroom, I say use anything you find. Although there are things about orbs of the green. So it's probably the little little round ones that the farriers are dancing around. But, you know, you can get it in coffee now. You can get it in lemonade mushrooms because it's this highly sigmatic food, apparently.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, in the herbal world, it's curious because it's not technically herbal. It's a whole different other kingdom. It's the fungi kingdom, not the plant kingdom. So and it's kind of really only come on the radar in herbal medicine, I would say, probably, well, certainly within the last 10 years, and probably even more so sort of within the last 5. So it's sort of quite new. But that said, there is so much good research on medicinal mushrooms. And you've mentioned one there. You've mentioned lion's mane. You've also got things like reishi mushroom, shiitake mushroom, maitake mushroom. All of your sort of quite sort of common, unusual culinary mushrooms have got a lot of good research about them, and most of it is centered around its immune benefits and the incredible value that well, to be honest, most mushrooms have on our immune system, or the edible ones anyway. And then there's also, particularly with regards to lion's mane, that's one there where there's a lot of research about its use to help to improve our neurological function as well.
Oh, that's important.
You can live hours on Google Scholar looking at different research papers on it. But even, you know, those little white button mushrooms that you can get from the supermarket, even they're fine and just as good to use, because something else that mushrooms are really quite helpful for as well is boosting our vitamin D content. So if you get your mushrooms and you put them upside down, sort of on their tops with their little stalks sticking up, and if you put them in the sun for about 10 or 15 minutes on a plate, they will absorb vitamin D from the sun, and then when you cook it, you'll get more vitamin D in your food.
That's amazing. Oh my God, you're like supercharging. You're like solar powering your mushrooms. Oh, I love that. That everybody can like put all their little mushrooms out on their windowsill before they cook them for dinner. Well, that's fantastic. Vitamin D, we know there's lots of research now that vitamin D helps with the whole corona, and vitamin C and vitamin D. And also we just want to strengthen our immune systems going into the winter season anyway. I had fried mushrooms last night for my birthday. They're a specialty of the house. And my brother always says, you know, you can fry shoe and it tastes good. Anything fried is good. But they were delicious, and they had a whole bunch of garlic, which we also know, you know, purifies the blood, cleanses the blood, and has all kinds of benefits. So I was trying to be somewhat healthy, but that's great. Okay, so we're gonna solar power our mushrooms for more vitamin D, and you can cook them like steaks now. You can. There's so many. I usually grill mine, or you know, put them in the toaster oven and broil them. I've been using the wok because I've been trying not to burn things. And for some reason, I don't burn food in the wok, and they're just delicious that way. So I forgot the line of the week, which is now, do you guys have any votes coming up? You don't have another election for a long time.
I hope not.
Yeah, but you have the effects of a very important election not too long ago. And so Britain's having a bumpy ride. We're having a bumpy ride. So the line of the week is, thy frank election make. Thou hast power to choose. And you can use the rest of that. Thy frank election make. Thou hast power to choose, and they none to forsake. If you want to use the rhyme to help you, but use the mushrooms to help you. Use the comfrey, which is not in Shakespeare, to help you. And we will be back next week. It's Halloween next weekend. So if I can get the special thing that I need to get made for Halloween, we're going to do a sugar show. And oh my gosh, it's lots to say about sugar. So thank you guys. Oh, I left the cards in DC, so I have 2 new sets that I'll be doing right after this for a different kind of wisdom. So stay tuned, or untune and retune. Find your wisdom, find your healing. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you next week.